right in the heart with a silver bullet.
Yeah. I think they plotting on me. Don't bite their feet when they enter the L.A.R. I feel a cold stare. Think I ain't looking. Maybe because I'm focused. No hands out for the hopeless. Funny bullets, I caught some shots. Another piece of the puzzle connecting dots. You can find the truth of laughter and liquor. One more shot to an empty bottle. If you gon' walk it like a model for me, like I don't see her intentions all in my soul. At a time we were just friends, with advice to land. Not special, I was dead broke, but we still got hope. Don't take my words, just back and issue that raw dough. Just back and issue that raw dough. Back and issue that raw dough. To the people that listen, to my people, they know that I do care. With your hands in the air, rocking side to side. Now my work, yeah, it's time to ride. Where my niggas at? My niggas ain't my niggas no more. Push me to the bag, label to change up his swag. I do it for us, I'm pro-black. Don't rock it the shit get. Wouldn't be so all type of African shit. Just rock a table fade, swagger tailor-made. Polo collars and fly kicks. Just polo collars and fly kicks. Exclusive shit, not get wet. Keep it coming, just don't stop. The revolution starts with shot. Bang.
I'm respectful to my people, and I want to represent my people, and I don't want to be a bad representative. I can't be blind, let the blind lead the blind, they all follow you.
Now my mama said, baby, act like you got sense. They act like I only act right for Lent. Been living in purgatory, but I'm nosing for heaven. Not sure if I'm getting in, cause I ain't paid a reverend. Who looking at me when I ain't looking, judging my character? I can't put down my guard on this planet, packing the camera. Ready for my close-up, the lens gets bigger. Won't play me on BET, cause I am not a nigga. My heart is like a powder keg, ready to explode. Smell like strange food, cause I'm America's cologne. It started with the hello, think you're a nice fellow. You're ballin' like Carmelo, you treat you like Othello. L.A.R. with the stars, turn a rapper to a prophet. Bulletproof 306, keep your hands in your pocket. Jordan rules for my life, you contain them, can't stop them. I'm niggas sky high, so the clouds can't drop them. My life is like a miracle, my words are just imperial. I'm edible, I'm audible, I'm digital, I'm visual. Spit like Komodo, go like Bruce Lee, Roy beating the meanest, baddest mofo in the dojo. Life is so amazing and raps like Jesus. They said hip-hop is dead, but today look like Easter.
Now I wake up in the morning, I'm black and handsome as ever. However, you see me as strange fruit, will it ever happen, not again. A crook and just a homicide, he know it's self-defense. But since I'm black and since he white, he got no common sense. That's 1969, and he ain't Jesus Christ. He ain't coming back on Easter, he ain't got a second life. You know I'm right? Hold up, look. Now the sirens in my window here, pull it over. License and registration, gun ain't never in the holster. Plus, that man black too, he wanna act too. A nigga with an attitude and a badge too. A couple tattoos, hoping I act a fool so he can squeeze too. But it ain't nothing different, they the same thing. They pull him over, he gon' get the same thing. Maybe 2 up in his brain, 21 gun salute. Last words was I'm a copy, last heard fuck you. And he ain't coming back, you know I'm black like Jesus. But I ain't coming back for Easter, y'all say goodbye. Everybody cry, second line. But when the music stop, move on. Cause I ain't coming home, they know I'm black like Jesus. But I ain't coming back for Easter, everybody cry. Y'all say goodbye, second line. But when the music stop, move on. Cause I ain't coming home, I'm gone. Now she on welfare. Law said that they can't live there, so we ain't there. And life ain't fair, but the food free and the rent cheap. His roaches where you sleep. He still came around and taught you baseball. Bought a Barbie doll, he raised all of y'all. And now the kids adults, they both up in the court. She want that child support, he on that child support. But he ain't never taught him baseball, and she ain't never bought him Barbie dolls. They both never there, no, never, not at all. Saying, well, pull your pants up, go while your ass out. They looking back saying, why, y'all ain't ever in the house? You got it backwards, don't you? I'm saying, cause we still preaching unity. And it's supposed to be family first in community. Got it in church to $1 for your blessing. We made in God's image, thinking we're Satan's mind. They got us crossed up, now Judas is Caesar. Mary could bury me, but I ain't coming back for Easter. Yeah, they know I'm black like Jesus. But I ain't coming back for Easter, y'all say goodbye. Everybody cry, second line. But when the music stop, move on. Cause I ain't ain't coming home, they know I'm black like Jesus. But I ain't coming back for each to everybody cry. Y'all say goodbye, second line. But when the music stop, move on. Cause I ain't coming home, I'm gone.
What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. I'm getting better, but I'm still sick. If y'all can see by the thumbnail, it's my review of the Black Panther Wakanda Forever. I've heard some reviews, but usually I don't let any type of review stop me from watching something or seeing something and having my point of view. So I'm gonna say some things, spoiler alerts, but I'm actually kind of looking at the film objectively, in my opinion, and looking past the film. So first and foremost, it was a good movie. It was a really good movie, and I'm gonna tell you why. Like the last I saw Doctor Strange in the Multiverse, it was better than that. I saw the Spider-Man movie with the multiverse, it was better than that. I saw Black Adam. It was better than Black Adam, even though it's not the same thing, but it's a superhero thing. I didn't want to watch Thor: Love and Thunder because I think Thor movies are getting too cheesy. Like Thor and the Hulk, they just like I don't like it gets a little too whimsical with them. So that's one thing. What the movie was, in my opinion, was a prequel. And it was a dope prequel. And what I mean by that is this. If you hear something in the background, I got a heater next to me. Not a gun, an actual heater, because I'm still sick. But what you see is a movie where people talk about the rhetoric, the quote-unquote feminine, the feminist agenda, and women are heroes and there are hardly any men in the movie. I get all that. And I remember talking to Edward Anderson before I even thought about going to see the movie. When I saw one last promotion commercial for it, I was like, you know what this looks like? It looks like the movie is set up so that, yeah, it was better than Black Adam. It was better than Black Adam. When you look at the storyline and the writing of it, it was better than Black Adam. A lot of times people look at comic book movies and action hero movies for the action and what's going on and the special effects. But the thing about comic books and comic stories, there's a long storyline in it. And I gotta say, Ryan Coogler is probably the best. Ryan Coogler and Zack Snyder are probably the best two people to actually do superhero movies, bar none. Right, as far as right now, because when they do them, it actually comes off right, and you can see where they're going in the future, even with the things you like and don't like. The other ones, most of the other ones are just cheesy ass movies. So I think it was a dope movie because of the writing and the prequel. And what I mean by that is this: the way they wrote Chadwick Boseman out of the movie, in my opinion, was highly respectful the way they did it. And what I mean is they wrote him out in the movie in a way that nobody could ever play that T'Challa ever again. The Black Panther that we know from the Black Panther and Civil War and the Avengers and all that, that Black Panther is always going to be Chadwick Boseman. Period. That, you know, I thought about like, man, they should recast him, and I thought about people to recast him, but then I was like, but when I saw what they were doing, I said, oh, okay, I see why you didn't recast, because you're making a whole new Black Panther from the original story. So what I was looking at when I was watching the movie is the original Black Panther story that everybody knows of is the one where his parents are dead. His dad dies when he's a child. This story made it go back to that. So now the next Black Panther, who will still be T'Challa, you know, don't matter. Now with the next Black Panther who's T'Challa is going to be actually the T'Challa that we know from the actual comics. You know, so, and I don't think people could hold that weight. That's the other thing about that. You know, I see why he did it. How many actors you know could hold the weight of actually, man? Because I don't think people realize this. Man, whatever. I don't think y'all realize this, but it's hard to recast a character of $1 billion movie. And I thought about it. I'm watching it. I'm like, oh, okay, I see it. I see what y'all doing now. Everybody, they kind of like everybody dying, and everybody was dying off that needed to die off per se, and they didn't scrap the movie, but what they did was they reset it to the original. So when M'Baku, the you know, quote unquote the white gorilla, when M'Baku became king, that was actually how the comic book was. When T'Challa came back as a young adult, he had to fight M'Baku for the crown to be king of Wakanda again, because he didn't live in Wakanda. He left. He had been gone from Wakanda since a child. So I'm like, oh, okay, y'all resetting it to that. So the new T'Challa don't have to have Chadwick Boseman hovering over his head. Shuri can still be there. The Dora Milaje can still be there. You know, the grandmother, Ramonda, could still be there. It could still be there. You know, but Ramonda had to die, you know, Angela Bassett's character. And don't be surprised if Angela Bassett's character comes back in the next Black Panther, when Black Panther's actually a guy again, and she's in the spirit realm, as long as she, you know, God willing, as long as she's alive to do it. You know, of course, they may try to CGI Chadwick to say something from the spirit realm, but I don't know how that's going to work or not. But when I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, I see where this is going. Because a lot of y'all don't, you know, if you're in the comics and Marvel movies, which I'm gonna ask a question. Why do you think it's very difficult to recast Wolverine because of Hugh Jackman? Very difficult now. That's why they had a damn near 20-something year run with him. You know. Ray, that's dumb. That's dumb. Michael Jai White is 50 years old and Wesley Snipes is 60. If you recast them as T'Challa, I hate to break the news to you, but you're gonna have to recast T'Challa in 5 more years. So why not start with a young T'Challa? Now you might wind up with somebody like Jonathan Majors he's already Kang, so you probably can't do him. He can't be Kang. But I will say, and I said this when I thought about recasting him, when I thought about him getting recasted, your boy that played Franklin Saint, I was like, man, he could play T'Challa. He really could. Yeah, old boy that plays that was in Top Boy that got killed, he could too. And the guy that played Hawkman, he could too. I get it. He could too. So you got young actors who could actually step into the T'Challa role with a moving ship already going. But you got to have somebody who actually can act, not just fight, but act. Because that's why I said I thought it was a good movie, because Ryan, the way Ryan Coogler, I guess, writes and directs, he makes the movie about the story, and everything flows through the story. As far as like now, when it comes to the agenda, what I was trying to say earlier about when I was talking to Edward, the last commercial or preview I saw for the movie, I was like, I see what they're doing. Basically, the patriarch of Wakanda is dead. The black father, the black man, the black king, the black protector, he's dead. And since the black protector is dead, the black male protector, the whole world is gonna try to attack Wakanda now, because ain't nothing but, this is a queen and a sister, and no king and no prince and no nothing. Cool, we out. It's time to go steal all their stuff. And it depicted how the white world in particular is money hungry and greedy. Now, some of y'all might not know this. There was a scene in there when Angela Bassett, the queen character, went to like a UN meeting. And in the UN meeting, they was like, yeah, they were getting on Angela Bassett, like France, and I want to say the US. I could be wrong. France and Germany or something like that. And they were saying, Wakanda promised y'all was going to give us vibranium and technology and this, that, and the third. And it was like, okay. And she said, she basically told them, we're not giving y'all nothing because of who y'all are. Y'all show us that y'all not trustworthy people. Y'all trying to kill everybody with this stuff. So I ain't giving you nothing because you ain't good people, basically. And that's when they brought in like some French soldiers who tried to kill Wakandans for vibranium on a thing, on a ship. So it was like a setup. So they set the actual French people up because they thought they was gonna kill Wakandans and steal vibranium, and they couldn't. What's most important about that is I remember, because I'm one of those people. I have like those. I still have the Marvel DVDs and comic stories and all that. At that that was an original storyline for T'Challa when his parents got killed. That was a storyline. That was one of the storylines that they used when Claw actually killed T'Challa's daddy, T'Chaka, in the comics and in the animation adaptation. He went to a UN meeting. It was like but it was like a brainstorm round table, and he told the leaders, "I ain't helping y'all because with y'all destroy everything. If I with our technology, we learn how to do great things for people. You fools killing the whole world with the stuff that y'all already have. So y'all need to stop acting like children. I ain't gonna help you till you grow up." And they tried to kill him that night. And then Claw wound up killing him that night. So when I saw that, I said, okay, because if you read comics and you do the stories and read the stories, you realize they throw pieces of other stories in here. So if you ever read the books or watched the adaptations that they have in animation, if you watch one, you'll notice in a movie, you go, oh, that's from that one. That's from that one. That's from that one. So when I saw that, I said, oh, I know what they're doing. I get what he's doing now. When people, Shuri being a Black Panther, the thing about Shuri was, even in the comics, Shuri was a Black Panther because of competition with her brother. She wanted to always be better than her brother, and he still wrote that into the movie. And Shuri was always competing with T'Challa, and she was always losing to T'Challa. So she became Black Panther on some rebellious sucker type stuff. And even the god Bass was like, nah, you ain't giving you no powers. No, pimp, no, you don't do things the right way. So she had to work and earn it. So I got it. I understood it. I was like, because even in the movie, it kind of alluded to her always competing with T'Challa. And then they put a small section in there, and brothers know what I'm talking about. Brothers know what I'm talking about when they say there was a small section in there where she said, her brother did a lot of things. So the things that she knows how to do, most of it her brother taught her. So the Shuri that we see in the movie was like, how is she smarter than T'Challa? This is some bull. Da, da, da. I get it. It was the way they set it up. But Ryan Coogler is kind of slick with it. He put in there that she's, just in a small section in this one that, I learned a lot from her. My brother told me everything I needed to know. I was like, oh, okay. I got it. I see why you're doing this. Because don't be surprised. Like, Shuri's young. The Ironheart character is young. Most of the Dora Milaje is young-ish. But then they gave the general lady a suit because she's older. So I could see they're basically giving her a suit for years in advance. So what wound up happening, I'm looking for the shenanigans. But then I was like, okay. So basically, to make the analogy, when there's no black men around, the world is going to attack black women. And the thing about it was an old black woman versus a young black woman as far as Angela Bassett's Queen character and Letitia Wright, her Shuri character. Because if you pay attention to it, Shuri is always the hard-headed one because everybody else was actually having to hold the weight and responsibility for everything. Shuri is a genius intellect, but Shuri can't think for a group of people. She can't think for people. Now, when there was a scene that when Shuri got captured and went to basically Atlantis, but the new name for it, whatever, the Talokan, she had to learn that lesson from actually Namor. Like, this is what we built. This is why I got to protect my people because I don't want nobody come around here doing X, Y, and Z. That was probably the first time in the adaptation of the movies that Shuri actually had to be an adult because she was always childish, very childish, very smart, but very childish. So I'm like, okay. So they made Shuri character, she had to grow up in this movie. So I'm like, so now she sees why, in a way she sees why she was never meant to be the Black Panther, and then she was forced to be the Black Panther. But it was so smooth. I don't know who wrote it in, or Ryan Coogler or somebody from Marvel. The way they wrote it in, that Shuri actually wind up using stuff, a plant from basically Atlantis, exactly. But the plant from Atlantis to recreate the herb. So now Wakanda has the herb again. And that was a dope storyline, even though if you think about it in the comic, if you think about it in the comic book, that wasn't the only place in Wakanda that had that herb. That herb was like in multiple places. Like, people forget that Wakanda has like 5 or 6 different major cities in it. So that wasn't the only place that the herb was, because they always had backup plans. But the way that they recreated it was dope. So now what I'm getting at is basically what they did is they made it so even though Chadwick Boseman died, I can guarantee you they're going to run this Black Panther story out for at least 20 years now. I can guarantee you that, because the first one made $1 billion. This one might get close to making $1 billion. And then when they introduce a new Black Panther, and I don't think y'all realize it, some people don't realize this, but they're going to introduce the new Black Panther. He's going to be a young man when they do it. And it might be, it might be somewhere somewhere before this little phase 4 ends. But I'm going to tell you why. Because remember, they recreating the X-Men again. Because the movie makes money, and because they're bringing the Black Panther back, and because they're using a young T'Challa, they probably was going to do this anyway. Jay Ellis, we shall see. But you're going to find out by this is Storm and T'Challa are going to be a couple in these next 5 to 10 years. And they're going to have that baby in the next 10, 15 years. And then you're going to have another Black Panther, and that's going to be the one with the mutant powers. I can guarantee you that. I can't guarantee you that because I work for Marvel, because I don't, but that's how they're stretching it out now, because they're rewriting the whole X-Men again. So it's like, okay, I see what's going on. And if people remember, Miss Marvel gotta die. So the Miss Marvel character is gonna die because when you bring back the X-Men, people want the Rogue from the cartoons and the comic books to be back. And how did the Rogue become Rogue? She killed Miss Marvel. So bada boom, bada bing, that's gotta happen. And plus, doing this, the whole Ant-Man, and I was looking at Ant-Man, the Kang storyline, and they got Dr. Doom looming in it, in a multiverse. Remember, and they got to bring the Fantastic Four back again, by the way. And remember who was integral in ending that whole thing. It was Black Panther. He was one of the people who ended it. And plus, even with the Namor situation, people know that the Black Panther and Namor got a crazy history. So they did the whole flood in Wakanda scene. Now they did it as if T'Challa was dead and he was, and there was no Black Panther. Initially, he flooded it when T'Challa was king in Black Panther, and T'Challa, I'm gonna kill you for this. So now it's gonna be a little touchy, because usually how this normally would end is just like it does in the comics. Black Panther kills Namor. They have a comic where Black Panther kills Namor, and it was recent. So it's like, okay. And Namor, Namor is not a hero nor a villain. I like the way they did his character too, because the way they did his character, he had a reason for showing up at Wakanda, but but the reason he basically attacked Wakanda is because Wakanda was like, look, you can't kill a world, dog. Like, real talk, like we can't let you kill the world. Like, what's your issue? He's like, look, man, I ain't let nobody mess up my people. I kill everybody. It's like, are you nuts? But you act like I don't mind. I got love for Dr. T, man. He's a great guy. So when you look at when I look at these stories, because Blade's coming back. Oh, that's the other thing. This Wakanda Fell was better than Morbius. I seen Morbius horrible. Horrible, but it's like, you could have did better. So when I'm looking at, like, when I looked at it and I saw it all the way to the end and I saw both of the little last scenes or whatever, I'm like, they made the best movie that they could make. They made a great movie in the absence of Chadwick Boseman. But it was a prequel to the T'Challa that we know in comics. And one of the scenes that let me think about that was the way that they did T'Challa. He was, quote unquote, like, even when they had the Killmonger scene with Shuri, the way that they did T'Challa, and I'm gonna get to that too, because that was, you know what, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna get to that. The way that they did the scene with Killmonger, it was letting me know, like, okay, at this point, Shuri is more angry than anything. And because she's more angry than anything, she can't think like that. But would it let me know about the T'Challa that they gonna have? He made that statement in the movie that, like, are you gonna be noble like your brother, or you gonna handle business like me? And a Black Panther that in the comics ain't necessarily noble. it ain't necessarily noble. He's more him and Namor are more alike than not alike. It's just that comic book T'Challa is not willing to kill a planet, but Namor is. So that's what makes them actual enemies. But what was interesting about that, when I saw the end of it, I said, you know what? they gonna bring back the actual the one that people look at that they can't figure out as a thug. So now that Tony Stark is dead, that's the Iron Man that we know is dead. And they were dope, they were tight, but Richards is not. Richards is not. So the Fantastic Four, they gonna roll with that. I said, okay. I'm thinking, I'm looking as it's going, and then when you talked about the vibranium. Now, initially, I thought the issue that Chadwick Boseman was gonna not be in the sequel was because of the blip. If anybody watched Marvel, they know that everybody died for like 5 years because of the Thanos snap, right? So some of the movies are placed in between the 5 years of the Thanos snap. And if you notice, even though Namor's character talked about, telling the world about vibranium, he ain't said a damn thing about Thanos. He ain't said a damn thing about the Avengers. Nothing. So I was like, okay, so half the story y'all kept from the blip part, but the other half, because Namor was so concerned about Wakanda and vibranium. I'm like, bro, you wouldn't be concerned about Wakanda and vibranium if you knew, the Namor situation. You wouldn't be as concerned if you knew, the Doctor Strange and the multiverse situation. You would be highly concerned. Your ass would come to the surface like, what the fuck is going on here? Because it'll been a problem. So for me, I'm like, okay, it's like, I don't know if it's in a blip, if it's not. And that's when the kid is like 5, 6 years old, but the kid actually ain't 5, 6 years old because that kid looks older than 5 or 6. But so it looked like it's like partially during the blip and partially after. I have no freaking idea. But when they didn't mention any of that, I was like, you know what? It's something's up. Because for Namor, the Submariner, to not know all of that stuff, but know everything else, like, nah, player. If you got all these realms, all this other stuff, you should know this by now. But that's another point of it that I was like, okay, all right, I see. Y'all tweaking storylines, because I remember in the first Black Panther, he smashed a lot of things in it together. Like, no, they didn't. They didn't make it seem like he died. They made it seem like he died from cancer. They said it in the movie. That when in the beginning of the movie, it was like he basically had a terminal illness, and they were trying to use the herb to fix it, and they couldn't. Now, to my knowledge, you know what I'm saying? To my knowledge, he shouldn't have had a problem when he came back from the quote-unquote blip. Bro, I thought you said the storyline was trash and it was this, that, and the third, and you ain't see that now was in the beginning of the movie? See, that's why I don't like some of y'all brothers, man. Y'all talk a whole lot, but y'all don't pay attention. You didn't pay attention in class, sir. So yeah, exactly. But I understood why she did that. But because truthfully, technically speaking, you had two options, and two options they would have had, honestly, was the one that she took against Namor at the end was have his ass on in the desert, but he was by the water anyways. But a desert, or have his stupid ass in those mountains with them Jabari. Honestly, if they would have went back to Wakanda and they would have went to the Jabari, that Jabari tribe and the rest of the Wakandans would have killed them all in the mountains. Because yes, they're strong and they breathe water and they need oxygen, but that ice, that ice and that air, that was gonna slow their ass down. That was gonna slow, because they don't seem like cold people, even though the water is freezing cold and the pressure and everything. But they was always near hot climates. They wasn't near cold places. They didn't have them nowhere cold in that whole damn movie. It was like Mexico and Africa. The ass wasn't in nowhere cold. Yeah, I didn't either. But to me, it wound up working out. So the thing with the thing with the recasting, I get it now. I wasn't a fan of it. I was like, man, just recast it. Don't let the man don't let the. I was like, y'all just gonna let the Black Panther whole story die, but that wasn't the case. Basically, they just rebooted the story, and the dope part about that is, and I don't think people realize it. Yeah, you saw that too. The Ironheart character is interesting for one reason. And I was telling, the Ironheart character is interesting because, and I don't like this, but it's more true than not. When you have a black superhero and it's American, you notice they all come from poverty. And I thought, like, so she's a genius out of poverty. I'm like, okay, I get it. You know what I'm saying? If you think about all the other black characters, there was black American characters. Luke Cage, poverty. Martian Manhunter, when he came, he basically made himself black and regulated himself to poverty. Icon, when he did that, poverty. And Ironheart wasn't really, and even Ironheart wasn't meant to be a focal point of the movie. I think that's one thing that needs to be said. Ironheart was basically an analogy of, they used a black female in a scientific sense to say this is what happens. And what I mean is this. She's a black girl from America. Right. She's a black girl from America who basically, and if y'all notice this, she was raised by a stepfather. She started saying, she would say stepfather at the time, and then she's like a dad, because that's who Card was, stepfather. No, it was better that they didn't recast it. It was better that they didn't recast it. But the thing about the stepfather thing was, he taught her how to basically be a builder. So part of her genius intellect is from being around her father or stepfather. But what was interesting is, the reason she was in the movie is because she had got so smart, she created stuff. She created something that basically the teacher sold to the damn government. But they kind of gloss over that, because she didn't intend what was used in the movie to find quote unquote vibranium and kind of bring out Namor. She was doing a science experiment, and basically her teacher took it and had to sell it to the government. The government was using it. She didn't even know, because she was quote unquote an MIT student. So I'm like, okay, I get it. She was in the movie because she was a target, because she was inadvertently a target. But as far as the black girl magic part, that's why I learned, no, a lot of that, looking at it, a lot of it, like if you look at what it shows is they wanted the women were basically fighting for their lives and fighting for the country. And they had a plan and they worked their plan and their plan subsequently wound up working. But truth be told, this is where it got interesting to me at the end with Namor and Shuri as the Black Panther fighting. And I don't know if you watch it, you see you know what I'm talking about. Shuri beat the shit out of Namor, but Namor's army beat the shit out of the Wakandans. So I'm like, now I see why, you know, this made a certain way, because they don't. Shuri is a genius, but the Black Panther tactically wouldn't do all the things that Shuri did. She wouldn't do nothing. She wouldn't do that shit. Like, I mean, he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't say, like, hey man, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna get a vibranium boat and we're gonna roll in the middle of the ocean and we're gonna fight them. We're gonna lure them out and fight them. He wouldn't do that. He probably would have waited on their stupid ass to come again through the water and had something right waiting on them on land. You know, he might have froze the whole damn water. Ice cold. We done. You know, now fight your way out of that. You know. So I was like, okay, I see what he's doing. I see what Cool is doing, is saying that, you know, you do desperate things. You do desperate things. Right. That's what I was talking about. It really was no fighting scene. It was the story. That's why I said Ryan Coogler's a dope director when it comes to stories. The story in the Black Panther was dope. The story in the story in Creed was dope. You know, the Fruitville story was dope. He's great at making stories. Stop it. But how you send that was crazy. Hold up, y'all. Okay, hold up. Sorry about that. But I ain't gonna say she told him right. Right. So I was like, okay, that's something that Black Panther would actually do. Like, oh, you want to fly? I got your flight. You know what I'm saying? But what you created was a new comic book war. I mean, I think I don't think so. You know, I don't think it didn't mark his legacy at all. Like I said that when I first started this live, what they did was they did something they would never do for another actor. They did something they would never do for another actor. And to me, that's a dope gesture. You made sure that he will forever be immortalized as the Black Panther. That it ain't like Batman. It ain't like Michael Keaton is a Batman, and then what was the other Batman? And there was another Batman. Val Kilmer was Batman, and then Christian Bale was Batman. There's like 5 Batmans and 5 Jokers, and some of them was good and some of them was trash. There's nobody that you could ever say, "Oh, that's Batman." And Christian Bale is the only one that people want to believe. Okay, that's the Batman that I like. And what is Ben Affleck was Batman. Same thing with Superman. Clooney, I forgot Clooney was Batman. With this one, basically the way they did it, T'Challa is going to be the only T'Challa. I mean, the way they did it in this one, his son is basically Junior. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Why they're not? They do put an end credit in the movie. What are you talking about? It was 2 end credits. They stopped the end credits and they introduced the son, T'Challa's son, and then they stopped it again after it was over, and then they said, "Yo, the Black Panther returned." That was 2 credits. You know, So I was like, okay. Yeah, that dude don't even count. But because when you think of Superman, people think of Christopher Reeves. Like that's the one in people's mind, and now it's Cavill. You know, but Batman is different. Black Panther is really, he's going to pretty much, everything is always going to circle back to him. They're going to always have a way to circle back to him. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. I definitely agree with you that they're messing up the movies. But from the last 4 or 5 Marvel movies that I watched, I ain't gonna front. This movie was better than them. I said that earlier. You might not have liked some of the agenda of this movie, but just as a complete movie, it was better than the Doctor Strange multiverse movie, in my opinion. It was better than I didn't even watch Love and Thunder because I thought that was trash up top. It was better than the Spider-Man movie. You know, it was better than Morbius. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was better than that. That's what I talked about. Like, they weren't necessarily part. They weren't part of that. Right. And that's the part I was talking about. You know, that's what I like. So to me, what he just did, he didn't recast T'Challa, he remade T'Challa. And I don't think a lot of y'all know this, but if you listen to Ryan Coogler talk about what he wanted to do with Black Panther, he said he wanted to do it like the Lion King. He said because the Black Panther story is similar basically to the Lion King. The prince, um, the prince runs around happy and free a little bit. The king dies when the prince is a kid. The king, you know, the prince goes off into the world, and then he comes back and becomes the king. So basically, that's what he just reset this as. You know, dog, stop it, stop. So to me, it's like, okay, that's what I was getting at earlier when I saw it. By the end of the movie, and I think that's the issue. It takes you to you got to go through the whole movie to the end of the movie to realize this isn't, this is a prequel to Wakanda, to the Black Panther. This is not a Black Panther movie. You know? No, it wouldn't have. No, it wouldn't have. You'd have been pissed. Like looking at it now, you'd have been pissed if T'Challa would have been in this one this way. Because I promise you, if Chadwick Boseman was alive, because if you remember, he wasn't going to be in this one even before people found out he was sick, and he was arguing with the studio about why y'all not having this movie. Because before he got ill, to the gravely ill, he wanted to do the movie, and they was like, "No, we're not going to do it." And basically, the Black Panther 2 was supposed to be in between that little 5-year blip window. So I'm like, okay, but now, you know, so the movie that's now is really technically supposed to be in that blip. You know what? Shut up, George. You know what you said, Aaron? I didn't even see it. So Namor and his people, right? That's what I was saying. I said that earlier. They never brought up anything about Thanos because it was like that didn't even exist or happen. I'm like, okay, that's what let me know. Like part of the movie is gonna be viewed it's ambiguous. Like, did the Thanos thing happen or is the Thanos thing over? So I'm like, because that was how it was supposed to be set up. So because ultimately, and here's the interesting thing about the Thanos thing. If you notice, when it comes to Namor's Talokan, and when it comes to Shang-Chi, the Asian one, and I can say the Asian was all right. It was all right. I can say that, but I'll say the one Wakanda Forever was even better than that one. But those two people, Namor and Shang-Chi, you notice they didn't. I hope so. I hope so. They didn't lose half of their people. If you notice that, if you notice that they didn't lose half of their people. And that's what people kind of forget is the Shang-Chi one, they didn't talk about really the getting snapped away. And Namor people didn't talk about getting snapped away. They weren't, so it's like they didn't necessarily exist in all this going on. It's like, oh, okay. So it left that whole 5-year window just kind of in the gray area. And usually they do that for a reason. And I don't know if y'all noticed this, if you watch the movie, at the end when Namor was talking about, it was like, why did you kneel? Why did you kneel to and yield to the Black Panther? Like, what is your, like, you ain't the dude I know. He was like, listen, man, because for all y'all, like I said, it's going to be spoiler alerts. This is basically what happened. Namor's army beat the brakes off of the Wakandans at sea at the end. And Shuri beat Namor ass on land to the point where Namor had to yield. And it was, and if you watch the Black Panther movie, basically what happened was it was the fight between T'Challa and M'Baku in the first one when he told M'Baku to yield, like your people need you. It was basically an homage to that, you know. Yeah, it will reach that far. That's what's funny. It's all people, you know. It's all people. It's people in everywhere, you know. Everything that had to exist. Not another realm don't count. It count. God damn it. Excuse me, but it was an homage to that. But when he was talking on the wall, he was like, you know, basically what happened was, basically Shuri told him, listen, we're not gonna tell the world. We're gonna protect y'all at sea, you know, because they're gonna come for us on land. And he already knew that they was gonna attack Wakanda because he already knew they was attacking Wakanda. And he already knew because Namor was being this is why Namor was being a manipulative little brat. And Shuri was so angry she couldn't see it. But only two people in the movie that could see that was M'Baku and Ramona, like Angela Bassett's character. Because what Namor did was he came up, listen, this was going to happen. Y'all better not tell nobody I exist. If you do, I'm going to attack y'all and I'm going to kill y'all. So basically, if it was the Black Panther would have probably been like T'Challa would have been like, so let me get this right. You going to bring all of your people here to kill us, and then you going to attack the world. And I'm not going to tell nobody. Oh, okay, no problem. I'm not going to tell nobody on this planet. That's what T'Challa would do. I ain't going to tell nobody on Earth. Because the way Namor character set up, he only know what's going on Earth. T'Challa was like, hey, man, listen. Hey, Thor, do me a favor. There's a guy on the ground here under the water. He going to try to attack us. Tell Miss Marvel. No problem. I got you. Now, common sense will tell you, yo, then who did you tell? I ain't tell nobody on Earth. What the hell did you do? What are you talking about? I told somebody who wasn't on Earth. I told a couple people who wasn't on Earth. And they'll be here. Like that's something that T'Challa would have probably did. And then he'd came back and he'd been fighting Thor and fighting fucking Miss Marvel, and T'Challa been like, yeah, I'm gonna kill this fool. Okay, yeah, when he get upset, I'm gonna kill this fool. Told his ass. You know. Is right, whatever. So when I was watching it, I'm like, okay, at the end when they fought and she lost, but one of the things I was getting at was Namor was talking because he was basically hustling the whole time. And he was like at the end, yeah, I yield, I gave up, but they gotta watch us. They gotta look out for us now so people don't find us. And they gonna attack them for looking out for us, and then they gonna need us again, and we gonna come and we gonna have to come save them, and they gonna owe us again. And I was like, this is why this storyline is gonna go on, and this is why probably if they write it in like they do in the comics, then the next Black Panther is gonna freaking kill Namor. Because he's not attached to it. Like the way it looks, the next Black Panther is going to be a middle ground between T'Challa's honorability and Killmonger's savage. That's what it looks like, because it goes back to the original story that of T'Challa, basically. So this is gonna get interesting. I mean, people might not like the movie now, you know. Yeah, but that's the thing. When it comes to power, Namor is probably one of the strongest characters in the whole Marvel universe, man. The Hulk, really, as far as power, is Reed Richards' son. He beats everybody, but Thanos was up there. It's the Hulk, it's the Silver Surfer, and Namor is pretty much up there. But the problem that people exactly. But the problem with Namor character is, and the way they made Namor, and I don't know if y'all noticed this, but they basically made Namor immortal. Technically, he's immortal. But yes, he is. Yes, he is. Namor is definitely more powerful than Hercules. In the comics, yeah. That's the thing. They just say his physical ability of fighting is rivals to the Hulk. But just like the Hulk, just because the Hulk is the biggest, strongest motherfucker there, don't mean he the best there. That's why Iron Man could beat him, you know. Right. So that's why, you know, they're gonna be at war forever. But the one thing that Namor's character did, which is true to Namor's character in the comics of being a jerk, he created a war that he can't stop. He created a war he can't stop. You can't go somewhere and kill the queen and flood the city and kill numerous people in the city and kill soldiers in the city who didn't attack you, by the way, and then say, you know, we got an alliance. Nah, bro, I'm gonna kill you. You know, stop. Listen, if you're talking about Namor, here's the thing. If you notice this and you read all them comics, right? Namor is one of the oldest characters. Namor's gotten to it with everybody. Namor's beat up a bunch of people. But it's only like 2 or 3 people that kicked his ass. It's only like 2 or 3, if I'm not mistaken. Shut up, Truck. You trifling for that, fam. But so let me get to the point what I was trying to say. Like, if y'all ever watch the movie again, or you watch the movie, pay attention to the small things in the background. Because when Namor is talking at the end about Wakanda having to come to him for help, look at the pictures on the wall, because they do a little quick pan out to the pictures on the wall with like the serpent and the panther and this, that, and the third. You know, so it's basically like this has already been written that these things are going to happen. So what's interesting about it is, I think, and it might, this is a stretch. This is a stretch what I'm about to say. What I noticed. Ryan Coogler put a lot of different things in this movie like he did in the last one. And one of the best things he put in this movie, and this let me know he's smart, and if these people at Marvel that did this, they smart as fuck. he made the movie, both movies, if you pay attention to them, he made the movie so that the characters that you see now, M'Baku can be M'Baku for about 15, 20 more years. And Shuri could be Shuri for about 30 more years. Black Panther gonna be the Black Panther for at least, if it need be 40 more years. You see what I'm saying? So he basically, and the Ironheart character could be like that for 40 more years. The youngest character think about it, the youngest character of the Black Panther series going forward is going to be T'Challa. By the way they did this movie. He's going to be the youngest character. So I'm like, oh, okay. So now he did something that most people don't pay attention to in movies. This dude put it in a spell where, okay, the first one made $1 billion. The second one gonna do great. We're gonna reintroduce T'Challa, and there is no damn reason for you to shut this movie down now. None. Because when we reintroduce the new Black Panther, he gonna be a young, handsome, fit, dope actor, blah, blah, blah. I got the storyline. The first Black Panther was a classic in box office records. The second one, which people thought was gonna drop off, is done pretty damn well, from my understanding. But I got to get into that. The reason why the movie's done well also is because of inflation. If a lot of y'all don't realize, a lot of these big movies, these movies is huge in prices and whatnot. It's going right. That's what the original T'Challa was, though. If you look at the comics, that's what the original T'Challa was. He was like, when he came back, he was like 18, 19 or some shit like that, because he was a child prodigy. He was a kid that went to like MIT and all that, but he was young, I'm not trying to protect the movie. I'm just looking at it. What is up with all y'all niggas? Look, bro, you know what? I tell you what. Every woman in there hated men, and everything is against the black man. And guess what? You know what I'm saying? Everybody need to burn in hell. Okay? You happy now? I'm talking about the comic book and the movie reference of it, dude. Do you even know what I'm talking about with the comics? Did you know that it basically reverted back to the original comic? Did you know that? Some of y'all, look, man, I get it, man. I get you in the manosphere. I get it. But some of y'all, sometimes we got to look past the bullshit. It's bullshit in the movie. Yeah, I get that. It was bullshit in the first movie. It's bullshit in all Marvel movies. It's bullshit in all movies. But if you look at if you look at stuff with an eye, you'd be like, oh, okay, I get it. I ain't talking about the agenda. Because if you really want to get to the agenda part, I'm going to run this to you real quick. Yeah, all the women were fighting and there was hardly no men in the movie. You're right. By the end of the movie, it basically told you, you know what? We need a man to run this shit. And that's what we're going to go from this point on. It took a whole movie to say that shit, though. It did. It did. But when the other Black Panther comes out and it goes back to the original story, and you're going to find out he's one of the smartest men on the planet, you're going to find out all the shit that they have to do with that movie, you're going to go, oh, man, the black man's back. You're going to be Wakandan forever with some motherfucking Coming to America outfit on again, walking around, listening to Curtis Mayfield albums and shit, I may not drive a great big Cadillac. You're going to be like that again. But beware that the actor might actually not be from America. Because I kid you not, it's some guys from the UK that could really pull this shit off. And they're really in that age group to take that character. There's really not that many seasoned young black actors in their 20s in America that fit that role right now. It's really not. So be careful. Like the only, and truthfully speaking, but they made M'Baku what he was initially. You're right. He came off soft as hell, but they made him what he was initially. He's only soft. He's not soft with T'Challa. He's only the M'Baku you gonna see when T'Challa, the little kid, got to take over. That he gonna be a dog. That's why at the end he basically the king. That's why he the king, basically. Right. No, you know, whatever. No, it slips past people. It does. It does. But let me say it this way. The one thing I like about this movie that was more even in a superhero movie and an action movie with a bunch of women is the fight scenes were more realistic in this sense. When they got hit, their ass was flying. It wasn't like you see the ladies in the movie, they get hit and they just turn their face like a guy and they just no. They was getting when they got hit, they had to take they had to take it. They be flying, they got killed, they got smacked around, they threw 7-8 good blows in, and the one guy just said, and they were That was the dope move part about this, where to me, I was like, okay, you're not making the women superheroes where they kicking everybody ass. And they had to actually be like a female fighting a guy, which would be you got to be ultra skilled, you got to be fast, you got to be slick, and you got to go like 5 licks for one. Because if you get hit twice, and he get hit twice, it's over. And when they really got cracked, the lady that ran the door of Milan, she had to get a damn super suit to fight. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, I take that. I take that. Like, truth be told, even with Shuri fighting Namor, as much as she did to lead that into her advantage, he damn near killed that girl. He damn near killed that girl. Like that, and that's the reality of it. Like, even with all she did to put everything in her favor, if he would have made one more move, he would have killed her. Yeah, like those ladies were losing that battle. They weren't winning. That's why I said like you kind of see the flip flop of it, where Namor soldiers beat the brakes off of the Wakandans, but but she wound up beating Namor. So it was like the two royalty, they Wakanda won, but as far as soldier for soldier, they got their ass kicked. And you can see it when they on the ship, basically outnumbered. Right, exactly. Atuma was breaking folks off. And if people don't know who Atuma is basically Atlantis Thor. The Atlantis version of the Hulk. Just may adapt. Yeah, he would have tore their ass up. So I'm like, okay, I get it. I get it. Now, and the reason why I said, I got you. And the reason why I said the young one is going to be more like T'Challa and Killmonger is because basically they having him being raised in Haiti, and then he probably going to be in America, and he's going to have more Killmonger's thought pattern. Like, that was a slick way to do it, because they named him Toussaint in Haiti after Toussaint Louverture, and I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. No, it didn't heal her. That suit didn't heal her. The suit doesn't. The suit is the nanotech. Doesn't put holes in it. Come here. See how my dog acts? You know, go. The suit healed itself. It didn't heal her. She was still fucked up. But Black Panther does have healing properties or whatever. Yeah, that's no, it didn't. That was a different wound. That was a different wound. You know, if you look at that's if you ever watched basically the wound that she got stabbed with is basically through the kidney, through the abdomen to the kidney. Go, buddy. That's where she got stabbed. Killmonger got stabbed in the damn chest, basically, you know, in the heart. And if you ever watch that, if you stab somebody in the heart, go. If you stab somebody in the heart and you mess around, you can block their one of their, it's either aorta or their ventricle. But if you pull a knife out, it bleeds into the heart and they're dead. So when you look at the placement of it, it's two different wounds. You know, like that old Rambo movie when he got shot with that round through his side. You know, it's basically the same thing. So you can survive with that. You know, it's gonna hurt like hell. You know, but you can survive. But I'm glad that it was showing that she basically got her ass kicked. What was kind of dope was, if, in my opinion, that was almost an Avatar reference. If anybody of y'all watched the Avatar, like the cartoon of Avatar with Aang, when he fought Ozai, is that Ozai? The Fire Lord, the dad, they fought on in a desert / beach, and by the rocks, and what set him off was getting basically he landed on a rock on his back, and it set off all his powers or whatever. So the scene really it was a piece of it came off like a piece of Avatar, and I was like, this dude, and it made it so because it was, you know, when y'all brought up the earth, water, wind kind of thing, it kind of was that in a sense at the end. And just like Avatar, the Avatar didn't kill the dude. You know, he didn't kill him. He just took his powers or whatever. But I was looking, I was like, okay, he implements a lot of different things. You know, because so anyway, man, my dog is tripping. But as far as a movie goes, I'll say it was better than the Marvel movies that have been out recently. I get the agenda part, but I'm glad I get now why they didn't recast them. And I get what they're about to do with them. And to me, it's playing a long game. It's not a short game. They're playing a long game with their character now. And to me, I think that, you know, it's kind of like, and I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna be out of here. If y'all remember when Luke Cage came out, we were mad that Diamondback got killed because they didn't expect the shit to do that good. Because remember, Luke Cage messed around and broke Netflix when it first came out. It was like everybody was watching it. So now you can't it's hard. You can't recast Diamondback because Diamondback's character is basically Blade now. And now you can't recast Luke Cage because the shit got so big, you know, it's like, damn, like who we gonna all see him as Michael Coulter. So I think that lesson was learned as far as a black character in particular. And I'm like, yo, I'll take it. Like now you don't recast the character, you're gonna have to create a whole new one and start from scratch. And I'm like, okay, all right, you know, and from the beginning, right, you know, but they were at war anyway, so. But that's true. But basically, what you created is a in essence, what they created was the possibility for the Black Panther, the type of Black Panther that we actually knew in the comics. Because now this young man is gonna have to be prepared for Namor and everything that they got. He gonna have to be prepared for everything coming from space and Thanos, and you know, not Thanos, but just that. He gonna have to be prepared for the quantum multiverse. So now you basically started over and created the actual T'Challa. Everybody knows, like, okay, I got to be ready for everybody. So to me, it's like it did in some way set a precedent for us to see the actual T'Challa that we was hoping to see in the first one. The guy who was way smarter than Shuri, the guy who did all the tech, the guy who messed around and teleported the whole damn nation of Wakanda to another planet and wound up having an intergalactic space thing. The guy who wound up going to the future and going to the past. And, you know, the one that lost his memory and Killmonger was running Wakanda and he had to figure out who he was again. Like all that, like it created at least an avenue for that to happen in the Marvel universe. So it was a loss because Chadwick Boseman died, but you know, and if Marvel doesn't do this, I guarantee you their shit is gonna go down. Because if you look at the quality of all their other movies, it's not on the same level. No. He gonna be the one that that T'Challa's gonna be the one that's gonna fuck around and be the exact Texas Marine. I said that earlier. This is the setup. Even when they reboot X-Men, this is the one that's probably gonna be marrying Storm and having a kid. This is probably gonna be the one. You know, right? Exactly. Exactly, Truck. That's what I'm saying. The two different things. But let me get up out of here, y'all, man. I'm gonna go take care of my family, man. I appreciate y'all, but I get why everybody was saying what they were saying, but looking past it, I get why they're doing what they're doing. And it ain't that, you know, at least they created something for the future, you know. So also the one after the hold up. Also the one wait. Yeah. Exactly. P. The War of Virginia. Which origin? I mean, that was years ago. But yeah, fam, I got you now. But peace, everybody.
It looks like a job for Superman.
Spoken from the lips of the young or the old, there are many.
Yeah, gotta put it all in.
And there are Supermen
all the way. I guess I'm taking off the cake through the glasses in the trash. Being super is great, saving y'all is such a drag. Even God took a break, me I ain't coming back. I got one life to live, if you don't like it, that's your ass. Cause nobody saved me, plus when I talk, I'm just a peon. I could use somebody just like I'm the Kings of Neon. This world is cold as ice, mixed with salt, mixed with Freon. They got me pissed off, but that's better than being peed on. For eons, human beings took kindness for weakness. When you constipated, you start to appreciate shit. Put before you life and death, and you just gotta choose. The kryptonite life means you still follow the rules. If your credit's messed up or your bills ain't paid, then it's getting disconnected. Can't nobody say the day. And I can fly, leave a building in a single bound, but I can't stand fair weather friends, and I just fly around. My super friends is Justice League. Only folk I kick it with. Kill Lex Luthor, so what? We had to finish it. Kids play games and adults play for keeps. And me, I play to win, but I ain't playing in these streets. And life is not a joke. Then again, it ain't this serious. Superman can say the day, but God can say the Superman. Saga of the kryptonite life just ended. You enjoy listening? Man, I finished it.
Lois, come holler at me. I got an ice couch. Thank you for coming out, listen. I knew you would like it because we made it. I'm so frigid and so fly.